I'm Brian Keating. He's Carson Cunningham.
Another week closer.
I know, man. The countdown has been on. So here's what I want to do tonight. Talk college football, and I want to talk wins because as we get a little bit closer, everybody kind of wants to know how many wins, what bowl game, and what can we expect. So let's kind of look at what Las Vegas has as the betting line. And let's just make it really easy.
They're smart people over there.
They know what they're doing in the desert.
The win totals are pretty accurate.
Let's go over or under.
Okay.
So we'll just start with the Oklahoma Sooners. Las Vegas has at 10 wins. So I suppose you could push, but
you could definitely push. That's a winner in Vegas, as long as you don't lose your money.
No, you're right about that. All right, so let's go the Oklahoma Sooners 10 wins.
Well, for my money, OU has the toughest schedule in the country. Just look at their non-conference. They go
very difficult.
Go to Houston, a top 15 team. Now it's at the Texans Stadium. That's a road game. Ohio State at home, still a top 5 team, even though they lost 1 million players in the NFL draft. The non-conference is brutal before you even get to the Big 12. If they're going to get over 10, I'm going over, but they're going to be overworked. They're going to have to earn it. Oh, my goodness. Because their first game in the Big 12, oh, by the way, at TCU, the second best team right off the bat. And for me, they have Texas in the Cotton Bowl where they have not played well the last 3 years. They go to Lubbock, which is a weird place. Baker Mayfield's going to be under all kinds of duress.
A lot of pressure.
All the duress from the Tech fans. So they're going to have to earn it, man, because everyone thought, they got OSU coming to town, Baylor coming to town. They're just going to have to go on the road to TCU.
I've got them at over, and I've got them at 11-1. And you're going to be surprised at the game that I'm picking that I think they're going to lose. Ohio State.
Really?
I think they're going to lose to Ohio State at home, and I think they'll sweep through the Big 12. But that Ohio State team, I know they're young, replacing 16 starters. That is a physical – OU can't out-athlete Ohio State, where I think OU, they're going to be young and inexperienced up front. But I've got the Sooners 11-1. With the Ohio State being their only loss.
I think they beat Ohio State. They're a 10-point favorite, according to the smart people in Vegas.
I get it.
OU always loses when they shouldn't lose. That's the thing on their box.
Maybe that was it.
Yeah,
10-point favorite.
Hey. You stumped me.
Yeah, see, there you go.
You stumped me there.
Let's talk about the OSU Cowboys. The over-under for the Cowboys is 8.5 wins. They had 10 of them right off the bat last season, lost their last 3 games of the season. So 8.5 wins. I know a lot of people look at their schedule and they say, boy, they're playing all the good teams now on the road. What do you think?
Well, I hate to boil this down to one game, but I think it kind of comes down to that Baylor game. First game of the season. I'm going over, but it's going to be overbearing trying to overcome that first game at Baylor. We don't know what Baylor's going to do, and you face them first in the Big 12. Plus, I'm with you. I think their schedule, we said, oh, it's going to flip this year. It's going to completely flip. Well, I'm counting OU and TCU as losses, which maybe I shouldn't do because they beat the brakes off TCU last year with Trayvon Boykin. But I'm considering those two losses. If they get by Baylor, I think they definitely go over.
I think they're over. I think they're 9-3. I have their losses at Baylor, at Oklahoma, and at Kansas State. I actually think they go to TCU and win that game. I'm not as high on TCU as a lot of people. I know they'll be really good defensively. I don't think they have any idea what they have at quarterback. I'm not that big on Kenny Hill. So I think they beat TCU. I think they beat Texas at home. Although, the Cowboys hadn't beaten the Longhorns in Stillwater in forever.
That's right.
Although they beat them every year that they play them in Austin. So I've got them over, 9-3. That might be good enough for maybe second in the Big 12.
Yeah, I was looking at their schedule. It's way more manageable than I thought. I mean, they have some tough road games, but overall, very manageable.
All right, here we go. Final question.
Okay.
We've talked about the Sooners and Cowboys. What about some team that we're not talking about? And I'll let you make the definition of surprise team however you like. But surprise team in the you tried to draw a picture.
I tried to draw an emoji. I don't know if it's going to work. But I'm going with the strong arm.
Oh,
Charlie Strong.
Charlie Strong, okay.
And if they have a quarterback, which I think they do in Shane Buechele, he's a freshman.
We'll see. A whole lot of we'll see.
The fact is, they're close. They're really close. They're 2 losses to Oklahoma State and Texas Tech, the 2 teams they have to beat if they want to be a surprise team, by a combined 6 points. They beat OU. Should have beaten them the year before. Charlie Strong's close. If they get a quarterback with a pulse, they're going to be a problem for a lot of teams in the Big 12 because they've had no quarterback play and have still given teams trouble. Malik Jefferson, Defensive Player of the Year in the Big 12.
He's really good.
He's going to go up a level.
They've got some
freaks
on defense.
TCU and Baylor at home. Like, it's not – I mean, their schedule's pretty tough, but I think Texas can really make some waves this year.
Or they could be really
and
bad.
I'm normally the one.
Or they could be really bad if they don't get anything at quarterback.
And I never pick Texas. I never pick Texas, but for some reason I'm high on them this year.
No, you're right, and I think there's a lot to be high on. But if it all comes down to their quarterback play, and I don't have it. They're playing a freshman quarterback. Who knows? I like Texas Tech. I like them a lot because I think they have the best quarterback in the league. I know that sounds a little bit crazy because I actually think Baker Mayfield has a chance
to. Hot take.
No, it's not. It's not a hot take. It's a good take. I actually think Baker Mayfield obviously has a chance to win the Heisman Trophy. That doesn't mean I think he's the best quarterback in the league. I think Patrick Mahomes is going to be a big-time pro. I think he is a big-time quarterback. He's the best athlete with the best arm. And, I mean, he is Texas Tech. And I like him a lot. He is a big-time stud.
I watched OSU without a running game put up 70 on them last year.
I didn't say they could stop anybody.
So
but Patrick Mahomes is.
I can't go Tech.
I mean, I said surprise. I mean, I don't mean surprise team win the league. Surprise team finish in the top 4. I think they can finish in the top 4.
Okay. They're going to have to outscore everybody.
And they might. I think they can do that.
I don't know. I'm dubious. I witnessed it with my own 2 eyes. Much like you witnessed OSU beating TCU, that's why you think they're going to win that game.
Okay, fair enough. He's Carson. I'm Brian. Let's crash the boards.